Paul, what are your thoughts about opticians and the internet? Should independent opticians be harnessing the internet for their businesses?
Yes, the internet and independent opticians to me are synonymous. I mean, frankly, an independent today that doesn't invest in the internet and digital marketing, frankly, has got a problem. For years, we've been talking to our members and the wider independent sector about marketing per se. And of course, you know, everything is changing with technology, and digital marketing today is absolutely, unequivocally the thing people ought to be doing.
Would you advise opticians to invest in their web presence, and if so, why?
Well, web presence for independents is crucial. And why? Because everyone searches on Google these days. I mean, gone are the days when people go to Yellow Pages or to the local newspaper to search out, you know, a local independent optician. No, they Google it. And if they Google it and they don't find a web page of a local independent, then they're going to go elsewhere. So frankly, independents have got to invest, and it does worry me because I do believe the independent sector is going to shrink over the next 8 to 10 years. And it's those practices that don't invest in the way that we're talking about now that will suffer.
Do you think the quality of the website reflects aspects or attributes of the practice?
Yes, I mean, it's about image. It's about branding, and websites are a part of branding. And again, you can't get away with just a simple page done on a budget. You've really got to invest in your website, because if people go to a website and they don't like what they see, they don't hang around, they click out, they go elsewhere. So it's got to be very engaging, very impactful, and the messaging has got to be very succinct.
What are your feelings about the practice being able to showcase its products online on its website?
This is an interesting subject about online and people buying online. I would say a few years ago, independents were certainly not engaging in having an online presence with product. But it's the future. How can we ignore it? If the chains are going to do it and others are going to do it, the independents have got to be right at the forefront. So we must invest in this area, absolutely.
Is digital marketing an important part of the marketing mix for the independent optician?
Well, digital marketing, independence, absolutely. Until a few years ago, I would have said to independents, look, do the traditional stuff. Most independents do nothing. So doing the traditional stuff was a step forward. But today, just 2 or 3 years later, digital marketing is what it's all about. If you look at the top brands, the big companies, the international companies, they're not spending 5–10% of their budgets on digital marketing. They're spending 50% of their budgets. The whole television networks are now wondering how they're going to survive, because advertising on television is no longer the way forward. It's spent in digital. So of course, independents have got to reverse their thinking. No more traditional marketing. It's down to digital marketing, absolutely every time.
Would you advise independent practice owners to invest a significant portion of their turnovers on digital marketing, and if so, how much?
Well, for years I've been saying to independents, A, you must set a budget and you must have a plan of action. Now, if a practice sets a budget and they decide on what their top line turnover is going to be in the following year, then my view is they should be allocating about 8% of their top line turnover to marketing per se. Now, if you'd asked me this question about a year or 18 months ago, I would have said probably 10–20% of that budget, that 10%, that 8% budget, should be spent on digital marketing. I'd say today it's probably 75%. 75%. It's a huge percentage, because that's the way the consumer now looks for practices and looks for product.
How does digital marketing complement traditional offline marketing?
It complements it extremely well, because I think digital marketing should lead the way today, reinforced by more traditional door-to-door distribution of practice brochures, by advertising and, dare I say, local church magazines. I mean, I'm not an advocate of advertising in local newspapers, but if there is a community news sheet or information source that's distributed to local people in local communities, then independent opticians should be a part of that. And it's not expensive. But yes, I think it does complement everyday marketing. The big issue, though, frankly, is persuading independents to actually set a budget and spend a budget and devote the time to doing all this stuff.
So clearly there's a need for digital solutions, marketing and web solutions in the independent practice sector, would you recommend that independent practice owners seek out companies like Optic Commerce in order to help them with their digital strategy?
Absolutely. I have been very impressed with Optic Commerce and the way they've approached their business model. And it needs a company like Optic Commerce to step forward and say to independents, look, we can do this for you. Independents, they're opticians, they're optometrists, they're not digital experts. Some of them, of course, dabble in this area, and that's absolutely great, and I encourage it. But frankly, you need to turn to a company like Optic Commerce. It's got all the experience, to be able to just put together a solution for that practice. But importantly, not just a one-off solution, but working with that practice day in, day out, month in, month out, year in, year out. Because the technology is moving on all the time. The only constant in life is change. And digital technology is moving and changing all the time. You can't afford just to dip in and dip out. You need to get fully involved. To me, Optic Commerce have got all the solutions.